Hey you, this is Jasim from Code Band, and in this video I'm gonna be showing you the introduction to class-based views in Django, and also in specific I'll discuss about the create view, which is responsible for creating an object of the model in Django. So if you're new to my channel, please do subscribe my channel and click the bell icon near to it. So without any further, let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so what I have created is in a simple boilerplate where I have created a new Django project and I have created a virtual environment and activated it. Then I have created a simple application called to-do, and which has a model called to-do, which has got a title of char field and a string representation. So that's the basic thing I have got, and in the settings.py I have registered this app in the install app section. Now the code for this whole project is available in the description section of a GitHub repository, so you can clone or download it and follow along. And as far as the class-based views are concerned, they are just a great time saver in your code. So if you're using regular function-based views, you need a whole lot of code to get the whole functionality. For example, in the create view of the generic class-based view, you just need a very little, or I could say no code, to get the whole functionality of creating an object in the database. Okay, so that's what is the advantage of the class-based views. And in Django we have so many class-based views, such as create view, update view, delete view, list view, and there are other views as a redirect view, then template view, and a lot of things which has its own functionalities. Like the create view is for creating an object, update view is for updating an object, then delete is for deleting, and each one has its own specific functionality. So we are now moving on to the create view itself. So what we are gonna be doing is we have the basic URL setup here to include the to-do apps URLs, and I don't have a URL set here in the to-do URLs. So I'll set a path, and what I'm gonna do is in order to use this create view, what I could possibly do is just say create view dot as view. And if you're using class-based views, generic ones, you need this as view stuff here. This is class method that just returns this as a view itself. Okay, unlike if you're using a function-based use, you just provide a reference, so so that they do the rest, the Django do the rest of the the methods and all. So here you need to provide this as view here, as view. You need to call this as view so that it returns a view. Just understand that. And the next thing, I'll provide an optional name argument, and I'll name it as home. Now you need to import this stuff here, the create view, and it's just like from django.views.generic import create view. And now what you have to provide is the create view has what it does is in the get request it displays a form, so that you could fill all those fields and click the submit. And if the form has some validation errors, it redisplays that form with those validation errors. And if everything goes fine, it just redirects to whatever page we provide in here. So that's the basic overview of how create view works. So what we need to provide as attributes is you could provide model in order to let the create view know which model to save the object. So the model name I'm using here is to do. So I could just say in the URLs I could just say model is equal to do, and I have to import it as well up here from to do dot models import to do. Then the next argument you have to provide is fields. Okay, fields attribute. Now this is as the create view generates a form for you. Okay, it automatically generates a form from this model. We don't have to create a custom form for that. It automatically creates, but it needs to know what fields to use when creating the form, such as here only title is required. We need the user to see enter the title, so that's only enough in this case. But suppose if you have a created at field, suppose it's a datetime field and it has auto now add is equal to true, which means this would be automatically updated or created at the time of creation. The datetime is automatically generated by Django, and you don't want this field to be seen by the user, so that the user enter the correct date and time of creating this to do. That's not the way. It is automatically generated by Django, so you don't want this field to be present in the form. So if this is the case, suppose if I have these two fields, then what I will do in the fields attribute is specify a list of containing which fields I want to display. So here I should only display the title. I won't display the created at. So this is a method I could use, specify a list of attributes of fields that you should display to the user. I only request the title. But in this case, I don't have this stuff, this created stuff here. It's very simple. So I could say, just use all the fields. Okay, just use all the fields. So to do that, I just do underscore underscore all underscore underscore. And after this, the third argument is the success URL, which is nothing but where to go if everything works fine. If the user created that object, then where to redirect the user to. Now here you could provide this reverse lazy function, which is nothing but a lazy evaluated version of reverse. And if you are not familiar with reverse and reverse lazy, I'll put a link in the description of its documentation. It's just gets this name and converts it to a path. So what I could possibly do is reverse lazy of this name home. I want to redirect the user to the same page itself, same home page. And before using this, I want to import. So up here, Django.urls, import reverse lazy. So with this functionality, if I do save now, I'll get some errors for sure. And if I do look into that, I got some errors. The first error is template does not exist. Now, the CreateView expects the template name should be in this format, and this is the application name to do, as we have this application name, and this is the model name, the second to do, by the way. This is the model name, and this is the suffix, I should say, template name suffix underscore form. Now the template name should be in this way, so that the CreateView finds itself automatically. So what I have here is, by default, I have the application name, a folder of application name, and inside that, what I have to do is create this template, okay, to do underscore form.html. Now I do have a home.html. I'll just rename it to as to do underscore form.html. Now this is the default behavior of CreateView. I will let you know the other methods to you should change the default behavior, okay, such as we could use home.html, for instance. I'll get into that in a minute. So if you just refactor this stuff, and if I do go now save, and we go that empty page, because we don't have anything in the to-do form. So what I'm creating is just a simple boilerplate HTML document, name this as CreateView. Then I'll simply create a form, and the action, I don't need an action, because the CreateView expects it to be the same page. The action goes to the same page. And I need the method, method to be post, and I need the CSRF token. Then I need the input submit button. So I'll do that submit button here. Then I do have access to the form variable, because CreateView automatically gives you that form variable to use here in the template. So you could I'll use it as paragraph, for instance, to look it a bit stylish. So if I run this again, then I got that tiny little form there with the form being generated by the CreateView itself automatically. So if I do now say like code ban, for instance, then I submit, then it redirects back to the success URL, that is the same page itself, and it created that object in the database. Now in order to confirm that, what I want to do is I need to display all the to-dos here underneath. I want to display all the to-dos available. So in order to get that functionality, what you have to do is we'll shift from this one line code to a more elegant way of doing it. We'll just replace all this stuff with I'll create a custom class which inherits from CreateView. So the name of the custom class I'm gonna be creating is to do CreateView. Let me say it as, and the same as view is over here. Now what I'm doing is in the views.py, so I'll just say this as views dot to do CreateView. Then I want to import that views from dot import views. Now in the views.py, what I'm gonna do is I'm just creating that to do class, to do CreateView class, and I'll just inherit from the regular generic class based CreateView, and I need to import in the up. Okay, I imported it, and what I have to do is specify the same exact things as like before. I need to specify the model, I need to specify the fields to be all, and the success URL, the reverse lazy of the name of the URL to redirect to, that is the home. So I need to import those stuffs here, and you could see all those imports. And if I do save this stuff now, yeah, I got the same functionality. Now what I need to be in extra is all the list of all to-dos here. So for that I should override a method that is get context data, which has all the context dictionary. So what I can do is get the default context by calling the super implementation of get context data, so that I get the default context. And I need to add a new context called to-dos. Let me say it has to-dos, and I need to get to-do dot objects dot all. Now I got I added this to-dos to the context, and I just want to return the context. Now if you save everything, and now I have access to that to-dos variable here, to-dos a list here. So I could simply say for to do in to-dos. Now and for now I could simply say I'll just simply print the title itself, to do the title, and I'll give a BR tag at the end. Okay, so if I do save now, and I got a whole lot of steps here. And you don't have to bother about this one. This was which I created earlier. So what do we have? I'll just do a little h4 tag, for instance, and I'll print that to do dot title in that h4 tag, because it looks ugly if it's not like that. Yeah, now I got all those steps. Now if I do submit again, like code, and if we look in the bottom, we got that stuff. Now if I do again hi, we got the same exact stuff at the bottom. So everything is working perfect. And now what we have to look into is some other methods, like we by default named it as to do underscore form. What if I want to use home.html, and the next things like if I have a custom form rather than the default that's created automatically by Django, I need to have in a link a custom form. Okay, so there are plenty of methods and attributes you could override. I have got a link in the description so that you could look into the attributes that are available for the CreateView, as well as the methods you could override. So I'll put the link in the description so that you can refer this stuff. Now here the first one we'll look about is the form class, which is nothing but if you're using a different form instead of the default one, the default one generated from the model, then you could say form class is equal to, and let me create a to do form. Let me say it as to do form, and what I'm gonna do is creating a to do form. So what I could possibly do is create a forms.py file, and I could say class to do form, and which inherits from forms dot form friends forms dot model form. This doesn't make any sense because I'm just doing the same exact class meta and all, but this is just for a basic understanding of how things work in CreateView. So from Django import forms, and I'm just doing the default class meta, and I'll specify the model is to do, then I'll specify the fields to be used as I need all the fields, so I'll just specify it as all. Now I'll import this to do, and that's very much it. And this doesn't make any sense, as this is the one that's defaultly created by the CreateView. We have it, we don't have to specify it, but in order to understand how things work, I just done that. So if I do say now the to do form, I just import to do form, and I don't need this fields attribute anymore because I have set it in fields here. And the one thing to note is that I have specified the model in the forms, but I do specify it here because it's very important, because it's been used by another methods, methods like the template name and all. We should derive it from the model. So with that being said, if I look into the CreateView again, I go the same exact functionality with everything working. Okay, so that's the first attribute that you could override. Now the second one I'm interested in is the template name and the template name suffix. We're looking at the template name, which is nothing but if you wanna do like change this to do underscore form to something like home.html, I could say. Now you have to provide the exact path to do slash home.html. Now I could simply refactor this stuff into home.html. So if I do save this stuff, I got again the exact same stuff, so it's working. So that's how you could override the template name. Now another thing to note is the template underscore name underscore suffix. The default suffix is, by the way, I'll refactor this to to do underscore form. Now the default suffix is this underscore form. Now I want to convert it into like underscore create form, for instance, underscore create form. And if I do refactor, I could simply say it as underscore create underscore form. Now this is the suffix. The default one is just underscore form. Now I changed it to underscore create underscore form so that I could use that as the template name. Now if I do save now, I got the exact same stuff, so that's working. Now this is the two attributes. These are the attributes that you could override to manipulate the default functionality. Now this method we discussed it, already discussed, like the get context data. Now the next method we could now possibly override is this stuff, the form valid and form invalid class. We could just override form invalid class is nothing but if the form is invalid, then you could write some additional functionality here. You can add your own code. Okay, over here you can all add your own code, and this is the first method. And the next method is form valid class, which is nothing but if the form is valid, then you could do some additional some additional sort of codes here, looking if the form is valid, then you could save there may be cases where you want to save some other objects and all, then you could add this code here. So these are the very handy functions that you could override so that you get additional functionality. And you can refer the documentation here, the link for which I will provide in the description section, where you get a little bit of things related to this stuff. So that's all about CreateView, and hope you understood everything. And if you went to some errors or if you have some doubts, please do let me know in the comment section. And that's all about the video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do subscribe my channel and click the bell icon near to it. So in the further videos, we'll discuss about the update view, the delete view, and list view, and all those stuffs, all those generic views. And that's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.